are the only people. Now you can completely relax. Except for me, you don't have any other audience. Do you have a class at 11?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. So, can you do it in 9 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah? And then you can say, if you are a little bit late to your class, just say that you are doing a presentation with me and it should be okay, right? Okay.
Hi, my name is Khalil, and today I'm going to be presenting my slides, and the topic is to what extent do you agree that tourism benefits the host country? And the country I'll be talking about today is Kenya. Moving on to my next slide is the table of contents, what I'll be talking about. Firstly, I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to introduce my arguments, and then I will give my views, the thesis statement, and then I will talk about the economic impact of tourism to the host country, the environmental impact, the social cultural impact, and then I'm going to counter-argue the points, and then I'm going to refute it with the refutation, and I'm going to conclude last. Going to my thesis statement, it says tourism has played a positive role in the development of a large number of sectors within Kenya. I think tourism positively affects the country. Moving on to my next slide, which is economic impacts and how it impacts the country through the economy. First and foremost, tourism accounts for 12% of the GDP, which is gross domestic product. This influences the foreign exchange capacity according to Akama 2007 and Kieti. What it means by this is basically, for example, if tourists go to Kenya, for example, and they exchange their money from US dollars to the Kenyan currency, it actually makes the Kenyan currency more in demand, and therefore it makes it stronger, and therefore, yeah, and 12% of the gross domestic product is really a large sum because it's one of the main sources of streams of income for the country, and therefore it helps the country develop, and it helps the people too. Why I say that is because it increases the employment rate in the country, and according to Sindiga Sinclair, it increases the employment rate of the country. For example, the statistics, 120,000 jobs are created in Kenya because of this, because of tourism, and because of the employment rate increased rapidly. Moving on to my next slide, which talks about the environmental impact and the pressure on the conservation of national heritage. What I mean by this is the government is pressured to take care of the national heritage and make sure it is not destroyed, because without the national heritage, we would have tourists being attracted to our sites and visiting these places, and therefore the number of tourism will decrease over the years. And moving on to my next point is the development of local infrastructure. According to Mamuteu 2018, he said that tourism helps develop the country as a whole because buildings are built, and many tourist sites and heritage sites are built. For example, museums and all this kind of stuff. Moreover, accommodation of the tourists, maybe hotels and all these infrastructures are developed in the country. Moving on to my next slide is the social cultural impact of tourism. For example, celebration through festivals and awareness events which acknowledge culture and national heritage, according to OKEJ 2011. What I mean by this is, for example, festivals and events that are created in the city mainly because of the acknowledgement of culture. People will be needed, the local people will have to be involved in it, therefore it creates jobs and improves the lives of the local people, and increases the living standards of the local people because they'll have something to do because of tourism in that country. Moving on to my next slide, a counter argument. I'm gonna counter argue the point I just said. For example, the environmental pollution. Tourism will create pollution in the country and in the coastal areas mainly because that's where tourists mainly like to go. For example, beaches and all this stuff. And what I mean by this is because there'll be overcrowdedness and therefore pollution will increase in the city. And what I mean by the coastal areas is the resources of the for example, the coral animals and all these fish, for example, will be destroyed, and this will not attract any tourists, and it will cause damage to the country. Moving on to my next point is the marine resources. I just talked about 1 second ago. By Njuguna 1992, he actually said that the congestion of people, the overpopulation of people will ruin the attraction sites. And for example, minibuses of tourists and all these, they will damage the roads. For example, they will create tire marks and all this. And moving on to my next point is about rapid urbanization, slum creation, and encroachment of community grounds across the cities. According to Anyamba 2016, he tries to say that the people who live outside the city come to the city to look for jobs, mainly in the tourism sector. Therefore, many people tend to overpopulate the city. Moreover, encroachment of community grounds. The government tends to grab lands from the local people and therefore forces the local people to move out of the city into the outskirts of the country, and therefore they will live in the slums, and it will decrease their lifestyle, and they'll be in poverty. On to my next slide. Kenya's actually tried to fix these problems by introducing wildlife organizations and some companies and all this stuff. For example, the Kenyan Tourist Development Corporation, tourist colleges, Kenyan Wildlife Services. These government bodies tend to fight against these challenges and tackle them first in terms of environmental impact and the negative effect it has on the country. Therefore, it stops overpopulation, it stops pollution in the country, and actually it helps bring the cultures together and helps build the country and develop it. To conclude on this point, I would like to say tourism plays a major role in the developing and strengthening the country. The main factors affecting development and Kenya, which is economic impact, social impacts, and cultural impacts, and it's the key source of this country for revenue, in terms of revenue, because it's a mainstream of revenue. That's how they get the money, and they're able to develop the country and create bonds with neighboring countries in order to become a successful place, and also a tourist attraction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khaled. That was great. I just want to ask you, how do you envisage the tourism of Kenya in, let's say, 10 years' time?
I think tourism will increase, but not that fast. It will increase slowly because of corruption in the country, which is one of the main key factors that we need to face and need to tackle, because it's really bringing down tourism. So therefore, I think it won't grow as much, but it will grow sustainably.
Thank you. And my final question is, what do you think about ethnic tourism or ethnotourism, whereby tourists come into the country to live and stay with local communities and learn local traditions and culture? Are you in favor of it, or do you think this is a destruction of the local culture?
Both, because sometimes they can come and the local tribes and cultures will feel that the culture is being manipulated, something like that, but being
tampered with.
Yeah. and therefore the local people will not like it. And I believe it's good for the tourists to come and visit countries and know about the culture, because they'll gain more knowledge from these types of stuff, and they'll know more about these cultures, and therefore it's in favor of the tourism. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
presentation. You did it today despite not uploading properly, but that's okay. I just need to find out if there's a class here. I don't think there is. I don't think there is. But there